everyone, this is Ms Helen, and today I'm going to be reading The Tailor of Gloucester. So, I have my this is the character from the front of the book, little mouse reading a newspaper, sitting on a spool of thread. See the thimble, scissors, and there's even a threaded needle there, you can see, isn't that cute? And this is the other character in this story. I'm not quite sure who she is, so we'll probably find out as we read. But she looks rather grand, doesn't she? Okay, so here we go. The Tailor of Gloucester. In the time of swords and periwigs and full-skirted coats with flowered lappets, when gentlemen wore ruffles and gold-laced waistcoats of paduasoy and taffeta, there lived a tailor in Gloucester. He sat in the window of a little shop in Westgate Street, cross-legged on a table from morning till dark. All day long while the light lasted, he sewed and snippeted, piecing out his satin and pompadour and lutestring. Stuffs had strange names and were very expensive in the time of the Tailor of Gloucester. But although he sewed fine silk for his neighbours, he himself was very, very poor. A little old man in spectacles with a pinched face, old crooked fingers and a suit of threadbare cloths. He cut his coats without waist, according to his embroidered cloth. They were very small ends and snippets that lay about upon the table. 2 narrow breadths for naught, except waistcoats for mice, said the tailor. One bitter cold day near Christmas time, the tailor began to make a coat of cherry-coloured corded silk embroidered with pansies and roses, and a cream-coloured satin waistcoat trimmed with gauze and green worsted chenille for the Mayor of Gloucester. The tailor worked and worked, and he talked to himself. He measured the silk and turned it round and trimmed it into shape with his shears. The table was all littered with cherry-coloured snippets. No breadth at all, and cut on the cross. It is no breadth at all. Tippets for mice and ribbons for mobs, said the Tailor of Gloucester. When the snowflakes came down against the small leaded window panes and shut out the light, the tailor had done his day's work. All the silk and satin lay cut out upon the table. There's that character. There were 12 pieces for the coat and 4 pieces for the waistcoat, and there were pocket flaps and cuffs and buttons all in order. For the lining of the coat there was fine yellow taffeta, and for the buttonholes of the waistcoat there was cherry-coloured twist. And everything was ready to sew together in the morning, all measured and sufficient, except that there was wanting just one single skein of cherry-coloured twisted silk. The tailor came out of his shop at dark, for he did not sleep there at nights. He fastened the window and locked the door and took away the key. No one lived there at night but little brown mice, and they run in and out without any keys. For behind the wooden wainscots of all the old houses in Gloucester, there are little mouse staircases and street trapdoors, and the mice run from house to house through those long, narrow passages. They can run all over the town without going into the streets. But the tailor came out of his shop and shuffled home through the snow. He lived quite nearby in College Court, next the doorway to College Green. And although it was not a big house, the tailor was so poor he only rented the kitchen. He lived alone with his cat. It was called Simpkin. There he is. Looks cold and snowy. Now, all day long while the tailor was out at work, Simpkin kept house by himself. And he also was fond of the mice, though he gave them no satin for coats. Meow, said the cat when the tailor opened the door. Meow. The tailor replied, Simpkin, we shall make our fortune, but I am worn to a ravelling. Take this groat, which is our last 4pence, and Simpkin, take a china pipkin, buy a pen'orth of bread, a pen'orth of milk, and a pennyworth of sausages. And oh, Simpkin, with the last penny of our 4pence, buy me 1 pennyworth of cherry-coloured silk. But do not lose the last penny of the 4pence, Simpkin, or I am undone and worn to a thread paper, for I have no more twist. Then Simpkin again said, meow, and took the groat and the pipkin and went out into the dark. The tailor was very tired and beginning to be ill. He sat down by the hearth and talked to himself about that wonderful coat. I shall make my fortune to be cut biased. The Mayor of Gloucester is to be married on Christmas Day in the morning, and he hath ordered a coat and an embroidered waistcoat, to be lined with yellow taffeta, and the taffeta sufficeth. There is no more left over in snippets than will serve to make tippets for mice. Then the tailor started, for suddenly, interrupting him from the dresser at the other side of the kitchen, came a number of little noises. Tip-tap, 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 tip. Now what could that be? Said the Tailor of Gloucester, jumping up from his chair. The dresser was covered with crockery and pipkins, willow pattern plates and teacups and mugs. The tailor crossed the kitchen and stood quite still beside the dresser, listening and peering through his spectacles. Again from under a teacup came those funny little noises. Tip-tap, 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 tip. This is very peculiar, said the Tailor of Gloucester, and he lifted up the teacup, which was upside down. Out stepped a little live lady mouse and made a curtsy to the tailor. Then she hopped away down off the dresser and under the wainscot. The tailor sat down again by the fire, warming his poor cold hands and mumbling to himself. The waistcoat is cut out from peach-coloured satin, tambour stitch and rosebuds in beautiful floss silk. Was I wise to entrust my last 4pence to Simpkin? 21 buttonholes of cherry-coloured twist. But all at once from the dresser there came other little noises. Tip-tap, 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 tip. This is passing extraordinary, said the Tailor of Gloucester, and turned over another teacup which was upside down. Out stepped a little gentleman mouse and made a bow to the tailor. And then from all over the dresser came a chorus of little tappings, all sounding together and answering one another like watch beetles in an old worm-eaten window shutter. Tip-tap, 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 tip. And out from under teacups and from under bowls and basins stepped other and more little mice, who hopped away down off the dresser and under the wainscot. The tailor sat down close over the fire, lamenting, 21 buttonholes of cherry-coloured silk. To be finished by noon of Saturday, and this is Tuesday evening. Was it right to let loose those mice? And undoubtedly the property of Simpkin. Alack, I am undone, for I have no more twist. The little mice came out again and listened to the tailor. They took notice of the pattern of that wonderful coat. They whispered to one another about the taffeta lining and about little mouse tippets. And then all at once they all ran away together down the passage behind the wainscot, squeaking and calling to one another as they ran from house to house, and not one mouse was left in the tailor's kitchen. When Simpkin came back with the pipkin of milk, Simpkin opened the door and bounced in with an angry grrr, meow, like a cat that is vexed, for he hated the snow, and there was snow in his ears and snow in his collar at the back of his neck. He put down the loaf and the sausages upon the dresser and sniffed. Timpkin, said the sailor, where is my twist? But Simpkin set down the pipkin of milk upon the dresser and looked suspiciously at the teacups. He wanted his supper of little fat mouse. Simpkin, said the tailor, where is my twist? But Simpkin had hid a little parcel privately in the teapot, and spit and growled at the tailor, and if Simpkin had been able to talk, he would have asked, where is my mouse? Alack, I am undone, said the Tailor of Gloucester, and went sadly to bed. All that night long, Simpkin hunted and searched through the kitchen, peeping into cupboards and under the wainscot, and into the teapot where he had hidden that twist. But but still he found never a mouse. Whenever the tailor muttered and talked in his sleep, Simpkin said, meow, grush, and made strange, horrid noises, as cats do at night. For the poor old tailor was very ill with a fever, tossing and turning in his four-poster bed, and still in his dreams he mumbled, no more twist, no more twist. That is the end of part 1. Part 2 will be a little later. Anyway, so what we can see is the cat has hidden the twist that the tailor needs to finish the waistcoat that he's making. So the twist is thread. It's another word for thread. I think you gathered that. Okay, see you for part 2. Bye-bye.